What's up guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. If you've always wanted a Suzuki Jimny but couldn't get over the absurd prices that they want for either a 2-door or a 4-door Jimny, I have a solution for you. That comes in the form of the iCar 03. This is that very same car that I was telling you about. I actually quite like it because it has the classic proportions of an off-roader, but with some pretty cool modern technologies. Now, this is actually known as the iCar, as I've already mentioned, but in Malaysia, it is actually spelt out as iCaur. Now, the reason why it's not spelt out iCaur is because there's already a company registered locally known as iCar. It's a publishing company, and I'm guessing that's why they couldn't just call this the iCaur, hence why it's iCaur. It's not iCaur, it's iCar. That's how it is pronounced. Now, this iCar is basically a sub-brand under Chery. It is a collaboration between Chery and Xiaomi's subsidiary company known as Jimny Technology, also known as SmartMe. Now, this video is basically a first impression video to tell you a little bit about how the iCar 03 is like. Hence why I'm referring to my phone, because I don't have it all memorized as yet. I've only just picked up the car about half an hour ago. I'm spending some time with it around Satya Eco Park around here, Eco Ardens and such, and I've got to return it in about an hour. So just a first impression, good enough to tell you whether you should spend your hard-earned money on one or not. I look forward to spending more time with it. In fact, it has not even been launched in the Malaysian market as yet. It's only going to be launched somewhere in Q3 of this year, but I've already have an estimated pricing, so I can tell you a little bit about how it's going to be like. So when it's officially launched later this year, you can expect to see three different variants: the 03, the 03T, and the V23. iCar Malaysia already introduced this car during the Malaysian Auto Show, and hence we have some estimated pricing. The pricing for the 03 two-wheel drive version, which is basically the EV lingo for single motor, has an estimated price of 145,000 ringgit. This is the IWD version, which again is some fancy lingo to mean that this is powered by twin motors. And this has an estimated price tag of 155,000 ringgit. So what's the difference between the two-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive version? Well, obviously the pricing for one, but the two-wheel drive version uses a single rear-mounted electric motor that puts out 184 PS and 220 Newton meters of torque. It also has a smaller battery. It's powered by a 65.7 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate LFP battery. It has a range of 426 kilometers on the NEDC cycle, and it will recharge from 30 to 80% in just 30 minutes using an 80 kilowatt DC charger. This though is a little bit more sophisticated. It has twin motors, one for the front axle and one for the rear axle, and it has a total system output of 279 PS and 385 Newton meters of torque. It has a bigger battery, 69.8 kilowatt hour LFP battery, but because it uses twin motors, it has a slightly lower range of 418 kilometers on the NEDC cycle. And just like the two-wheel drive version, it also takes 80 kilowatts of DC charging, and it will recharge from 30 to 80% in just 30 minutes. AC charging, both variants will take 6.6 kilowatts of AC charging, have a top speed of 150 kilometers per hour. This will accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.5 seconds. It's actually quite a fun little car, and now we dive a little bit into the details. So let's talk a little bit about the design. As I've already said, very traditional proportions, a very traditional off-roader silhouette. In fact, if you blur everything out and you put these two side by side to a Suzuki Jimny, and just by guessing by the silhouette alone, you'll be hard done to guess which is the Jimny and which is the iCar 03. And talking about that, just in case that you forget what you're driving, there are three eyes over here, just to remind you that this is an iCar. Now, underneath here, unfortunately, you do not get a frunk, but you do get some strategically placed cameras to give you a 540-degree view of what is going around at the top and beneath the car. You get 19-inch wheels, you get some really Gunners looking fenders, and of course more cameras, a very squarish side mirror, and door handles that sit flush with the door. Later on, what you're going to get is another variant, I'm told, which is going to cost slightly more than this, maybe about 20,000 ringgit more, that gives you wider fenders, some off-roading accessories to make it look like it could, be driven to the end of the world, some roof racks and such. But that might come on later. As I've said, very classic silhouette. I actually like the design of the iCar 03. It's very, very cool. And at the back over here, just in case again that you need reminding, you get more eyes on the left and right. And this is not a spare wheel, obviously not. It's squarish, but you can store stuff here. Doesn't seem very, you just got to be careful with this. But then again, this is great if you want to if you buy durians and such and you do not want it to stink up the interior, this is a good place to put your durian. Just don't buy one of those expensive Musang Kings or what, because if anybody were to see that, all they got to do is roll up in a bike, do this and chabut with your durians. Because doesn't seem like you can lock this. Besides that, you get a side hinged boot lid, very cool, very, very classic. I like it. This is obviously, you can lock this because this is in case you park it on an incline and such and you're scared that this door might shut on you, so you can lock it. That's very good. And you get a teh tarik hook in case you want to tapao stuff and all, and a decent amount of boot space. The seats fold flat, so you can basically run a chap fun shop out of here if you needed to, but you get a lot of space and such. And you do not get a spare wheel. You do, however, get a tire repair kit and such, and you get a 12-speaker Infinity sound system. So I'm guessing that circular thing over there, that's a subwoofer. In that sense, I think this, again, has a very classic off-roading boot size, boot space and such. You do not seem to get tonneau cover, but I'm guessing that you will be able to buy something from the aftermarket accessories list, which will let you cover up so that people won't be able to see what's placed over here. Because as you can see, I have my laptop bag over there, but people will easily be able to look in through the side mirror, side windows and such. So be sure to black that out. Anyway, I really like the design of the car. Now let's go check out the interior. So in typical Chinese EV fashion, not only Chinese I think, in typical EV fashion you get multiple screens, massive screens over here, one screen at the front over here, that's your instrument cluster, Another screen over here, this is your infotainment screen, and this is basically your control center for everything to do with this car, because as you can see, there's no hard buttons anywhere around here. I'm happy that you get your regular air conditioning vents and none of those funky electronic ones and such. Some things just do not need to be reinvented. The air conditioning vents are one of those things. So from here, you get stuff like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. This is wired. Once the car is launched later on, this function is going to be available as a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto function. Besides that, you also get different drive modes. This is custom. You get all road. So this is where the car is basically ready for any type of road. You get a slippery function. You get beach. You get muddy. You get bumpy. I'm not sure what this does, but as far as I know, the suspension is not adaptive. You get eco, normal, and sport, and custom. Let's see what custom lets you customize. So with this, you get to customize your accelerator pedal response, energy recovery, your steering mode. So energy recovery, it's not going to let me go to strong, but energy recovery in high will basically something like one pedal drive and such. And then you get to set up your auto hold, your braking stop, your electronic stability control, and your steep slow, meaning hill descent control and such. So that will optimize your grip levels when you're going downhill. Anyway, very clever. Besides that, you get other functions such as this fully open. This will open all the windows in the car. This is your sunshade, because you get a full panoramic roof. So this is very cool as well. And then you can also decide whether you want your sunshade to be, how much you want it to open. So if you want it just like that, let's see, where does it stop? So it's just like that. Or you can leave it fully open. Nice, very cool. And then you have other stuff as well, such as your side mirrors, which need to be electronically adjusted. So this is how you do it. You click which one you want and you adjust it through the steering mounted buttons over here. And besides that, how do I go back? Okay, besides that, this is how you open your glove box. So electronically opened. And other than that, you get your smart driving feature. This is basically all of your safety systems. Let me just close this sunroof and the sunshade. And then this is your charging levels and such. You also get vehicle to load function. Your lighting, you get multiple different ambient lightings. Over here is known as atmosphere lighting. And these are seats. You also get ventilated as well as massage function. Interestingly, in here, all the seats in the car are ventilated. So even the rear passenger seats are ventilated. And this is how you adjust your left rear child lock, your right rear child lock and such. And your fatigue driving reminder. So as you can see, it basically has everything. And this is what you press to get your around view monitor. And I think you are not left wanting. It basically has almost everything that you want in a day-to-day car. But how is it like inside over here? As I said, if you want a Suzuki Jimny, I think you will like this interior. Because imagine spending close to 200,000 ringgit on the 4-door Jimny. That's a ridiculous amount of money for a car that is quite basic. But with the iCar 03, you get the same classic good looks, but the interior is very high tech. That is really cool. And one of the things about a classic off-roader is this near vertical A-pillar. Now, any classic off-roader with the classic design, such as the Mercedes G-Class, the Suzuki Jimny, the Jeep Cherokee, the Jeep Wrangler, all of them have a near vertical A-pillar. This is a very classic design. So in that sense, this makes the interior feel very classic, because the window, look at the front windscreen, it's so far away, right? And this gives it a sense of roominess, a sense of occasion, like you're sitting in something that is a serious, hardcore off-roader. Now, a lot of us like to act tough. We like to buy cars that seem to look tough. They can do tough things on paper at least. But how many of us actually do tough stuff with our tough cars? That was a mouthful. But anyway, it's also quite nice to know that you can do this kind of stuff with the iCar 03. Moving on, you get some soft touch panels over here. These are all really nice to touch. Air conditioning vents, as I've said, they're really cool. The steering wheel, you get customizable buttons. And then besides that, you get your charge pads over here, wireless charge pads, stuff that you want to hold on to in case things are freaking out and such. And besides that, you also get twin USB ports over here, more storage space at the bottom over here, and you get a storage space over here, but this sadly only opens in one way. It doesn't open the other way. So that is quite a bummer. But I really like this teh tarik hook over here. This is very strategically placed. So if you want to, tapau a drink, this is very nice. It's a drink, ikat tepi kind of drink. This is very cool. And besides that, you also get an electronic door latch. Now I got a bone to pick with this, so you have to come this side. So if you want to get out of the car, you have to unlock the car using this button over here, and then push the door out. But the thing about this is that it's electronically activated. So in case the battery goes flat, or in the in an unfortunate accident and such, sometimes, and there have been cases where this has happened, sometimes this electronic door latch might tend to fail. So I think what a lot of car makers fail to do is that they fail to mention that in case this fails, there is a mechanical latch, and it's hidden over here. So you open this and you pull on this. This is how you unlock the door in the event that this has failed. All cars with an electronic door latch have this function. And in case that you are interested to buy this car, in case you buy this car and such, this is something that you really need to inform all your passengers, that in case things go south, there is a door latch that is hidden over here. So, what happens if you get into an accident and then you as the driver, you're incapacitated, you're unconscious or something, and the passengers want to get out and they can't open the door. So it's very important, guys, to actually inform your passengers that there is another way to get in and to get out of the car, basically. Now, I'm moving on from sounding so morbid. Now we go and check out the back seats. So the back seats, now you get ISOFIX mounts and such, and of course they look really comfortable, they fold flat. This is really cool. And interestingly, of course you get your cup holders over here as well. Interestingly, you get some storage space at the bottom over here. So I'm not sure what this is for, but in case you want to hide stuff from your wife and stuff, this is a good place. And besides that, I got to point out that in terms of sitting space, not the greatest, decent. I mean, I'm kind of on the taller side of the spectrum, so this is acceptable level of legroom as well as headroom. Besides that, the air conditioning vents are good. You get twin USB ports, and you get 2 speakers that are mounted into the door panel. Again, the electronic door latch that I've already mentioned. And there's a button over here that lets you access the voice command. So if you press this,
please continue.
So guys, I'm going to end this video with a quick first impression driving the iCar 03. And I got to say that I find the suspension to be surprisingly well sorted. I really like how balanced this car is. It's comfortable, it's firm at the same time, and I think iCar / Chery have nailed the tuning of this car. Power delivery is of course instantaneous. This car just flies, man. As soon as you get on the throttle pedal, 6.6 seconds, 0 to 100. It's not something to mess around with in a car that weighs over 1,800 kgs. So I think in fact, when it comes to EVs, we all know that they are capable of some crazy acceleration figures. But I'm really impressed by how well sorted the suspension tuning of the iCar 03 is. Of course, there are a couple of things that can be better, I think, such as the brake feel. I think it just feels a little bit too spongy right now. Of course, this also means that this is a typical character of regenerative braking. So you might want to not brake too late. Besides that, steering feel is decent, and I think that as this car goes through its product life cycle, it's just going to keep getting better and better. The first attempt at the iCar 03 has been fantastic. What else can I say? I mean, this is a car that seemingly has it all. Good looks and fun to drive as well. I think this is the new replacement for the Suzuki Jimny. In case you don't want to spend 200,000 ringgit on a Jimny, this is a good trade-off for if you want a car with classic good looks, dependability. I think this is an EV that you can drive on a near daily basis. And I think I just can't seem to fault it. I mean, of course, this is a first impression. I'll find out more when I get my hands on it later. But as of now, color me impressed.